Mount Fuji is a special place in Japan, steeped in history and a must-see for both tourists and natives alike. But that can be easier said than done, as the mountain is known for being elusive, with days or weeks of clouds blocking its view even from right below. So I had a plan. I would stay there for a week to guarantee I got that perfect Fuji view. But my luck was exceptional, as not only did I see Mount Fuji, I got to see 5 unique faces of the mountain across the week. Come join me and see what they were. So I set off from Tokyo on the start of my winding journey from Tokyo all the way down to Nagasaki, but the town of Fujiyoshida at the base of Mount Fuji was my first stop. I took the bus and arrived at my accommodation, a quaint hostel with private rooms and, get this, free bread every day. That was breakfast sorted. But most notably was the first face of Fuji, a clean, pristine mountain. When you think of Fuji, you'll doubtless imagine it as a snow-covered peak, but this isn't always the case. I didn't know if this would be the only day I could see Fuji, so I made my way across town on foot to the Chureito Pagoda and observation deck, which is the place for Fuji photography. Or the most well-known one at least, as over the week I got so many amazing shots, but we'll get onto that. I began my ascent past the Beware of Bears sign and joined the other travellers up the hundreds of grueling steps, enough that most people paused on the way. And then I was there. And there was Mount Fuji in all its glory. I sat and enjoyed the view until sunset, then headed down before it was dark, as I was hungry from my long day of travelling for some udon, and of course some Don Quixote banana milk.
There it is.
After a few curious sights on the way back, it was time to sleep and await day 2. And another face of Fuji. See, it's hard to understate how clear the sky was on day 1, nothing stood in Fuji's path. But the second face reveals itself as a slightly obscured but still beautiful Fuji. Until you get there, it's truly hard to appreciate what a mountain this is that always in the distance looms over the towns and cities around. I explored the area and visited the famous Kitakuchi Hongu Fuji Sengen shrine in the forest leading up to the mountain. Afterwards, I headed to the theme park at the base of Mount Fuji, the Fuji-Q Highland, which, by the way, is 100% free to enter and look around. They just charge for the rides. So I happily explored, was absolutely shocked to find Thomas the Tank Engine in such a place, but here him and his friends were. Yet for some reason they grew so many trees that blocked Fuji's view. I had to really fight to find this one picture. After taking careful note that no smoking is allowed, I enjoyed further exploring the park as well as the Naruto area before deciding to give the park at least some money and bought a crepe for dinner. As the sun set, Fuji was growing ever more covered, as if to prepare for the next day. See, the third face of Fuji is truly no face at all, for just one day later, the entire town was covered in a thick fog. I looked up to see Fuji and it was impossible to even glance. This is the issue many travellers face. If you book just one day at Fuji, you might be unlucky and only see clouds. But as I had already seen the mountain, I wanted to take advantage of the chance for a unique before and after shot. I scaled the pagoda steps once more so I could give you this comparison of the city with and without fog. Yes, this is the same place, yet there is no Fuji to be found. And what happens to all that fog? Well, it settled, as one day later Mount Fuji revealed its fourth face, and the one everyone knows best, its snow-covered glory. I once again set out to explore the town, seeing the new sides of the mountain for the first time, and couldn't help but snap some pictures of the iconic mountain right alongside a Family Mart, two iconic parts of Japan side by side. But today I was finally leaving the main town of Fujiyoshida to see Mount Fuji from another angle, and now that weather was ready, the quaint village of Oshinohakai was my next destination. A place that stood still in time with historic watermills and one very cute photobombing doggy. Just a short ride by bus, I enjoyed the area and even got some postcards for free at the local tourism office. I bought 2 and got 8 free, what a bargain. From there I set out on the long walk to Lake Yamanaka, one of the 5 lakes of Fuji. This goes straight through Yamanakako's flower park, giving me the chance to take even more unique pictures of Fuji in front of the flower beds. I followed the river and walked along the lake to snap a few more pictures before heading back. I wish I'd waited a little longer, as this photo of Fuji at sunset frankly stole the show for the whole week, but this was just on a random road. And with another day down, it was time for the final face of Fuji. On day 4, the mountains were packed with snow, little of the peak was visible. With a few days of sunlight and no clouds, the snow started to melt, revealing a mountain still covered with snow, but little enough in some areas that it's interspersed with visible rock. I made one final ascent to the pagoda to complete my trio of pictures and capture the 3 most distinct faces of Fuji from the same location. This time I waited for the sunset to come and go before making my descent, and then waited for the mountain to disappear before my eyes as darkness loomed around. So in 5 days, I had seen as many genuinely different views of Fuji, and I felt so lucky to do so. My last 2 days involved further exploring of the surrounding areas, including exploring Lake Kawaguchi and taking one of my favourite pictures to date, a recreation of the cover to my favourite game using Fuji in place of the Mykonos. I did some other activities such as going to a nice onsen, which was nice, but I thought the onsen would be made to have views of Fuji, but no, this onsen you couldn't see Fuji unless you were standing up, not from any of the baths, which just kind of amused me. Oh, and I lied, I had to go to the pagoda for my very last day, and I saw Fuji with its cloud next to the snow. It felt like the right place to end my journey, and thank you for joining me on it. Next time, join me for a trip to Nagano and my favourite temple in all of Japan.